Welcome back to the channel. Here you'll find the fastest updates on breaking news, shocking secrets, and dramatic predictions for times. The young and the restless. Who will betray whom? What secrets are about to be revealed? And what horrific tragedy awaits the characters in Genoa City? Subscribe, turn on notifications, and join us to discover the unmissable developments right now. Welcome back to our channel for another deep dive into the dramatic world of Genoa City. Today is a thrilling day to unpack the latest explosive developments as hidden truths and dark agendas finally come to light. Let us step right into the heart of the impending chaos. Genoa City has always been a treacherous battleground of whispered secrets and shadow conspiracies. But the current landscape is facing an apocalyptic shift that threatens to dismantle its most powerful dynasties. Behind the polished corporate facades and the guise of trusted alliances, a sinister web of manipulation has been meticulously woven. For weeks, seemingly trustworthy figures have operated as ultimate masterminds, pulling strings from the dark to orchestrate the downfall of their rivals. Audra Charles, presenting herself as a pragmatic ally, secretly engineered the systemic sabotage of Sally Spectra's life, leaking corporate documents and stoking the fires of paranoia. This calculated betrayal was designed to fracture relationships and seize power, but the catastrophic ripple effects have extended far beyond the boardroom. It has set the stage for one of the most devastating personal implosions in the history of the Abbott and Newman families, culminating in a secret that has been buried in the shadows for decades. The immediate casualty of this overarching shadow conspiracy lies in a sterile, agonizingly quiet hospital room at Genoa City Memorial. Sally Spectra is currently fighting for her life, alongside the fragile life of her unborn child, facing severe and life-threatening pregnancy complications. The extreme psychological stress, engineered by unseen corporate hands, culminated in a devastating confrontation where Sally, pushed to the absolute brink of her emotional endurance, confessed her lingering, complex feelings for Adam Newman. Billy Abbott, who had believed he was building a secure and loving future, was left entirely shattered, realizing he might merely be the safe choice in Sally's traumatized heart. Now, as Billy paces the hospital corridors, he is consumed by an unadulterated, suffocating guilt. He blames his own aggressive reactions for pushing Sally into this medical crisis, haunted by the terrifying possibility of losing another child, echoing the tragic, inescapable memory of his beloved daughter, Delia. However, Sally's tragic hospitalization is only the catalyst for Billy's impending psychological collapse. While his heart remains tethered to the medical monitors tracking Sally's vitals, his much is plagued by a secret investigation he recently undertook in the darkest corners of the Abbott mansion. Driven by an unshakable unease regarding his mother Jill's frantic attempts to guard Chancellor documents, Billy began digging into the buried past. Beneath the floorboards of history, he unearthed a collection of old diaries, faded photographs, and cryptic letters dating back to the 1980s and 90s. These relics hinted at a profound, highly secretive, and illicit romance between Jill Abbott and Jack Abbott. The terrifying implications of these documents have been gnawing at Billy's sanity, planting a seed of toxic doubt about his very identity. Yet he lacked the final, undeniable piece of the puzzle to confirm his absolute worst fears. Enter Victor Newman, the undisputed grandmaster of shadow conspiracies and psychological warfare. Victor has never been one to let a vulnerability go unexploited, and his surveillance network is unparalleled in its reach. While Billy was desperately trying to piece together the fragmented history of his family through faded ink and old memories, Victor had already acquired the ultimate devastating truth. Victor operates with a cold, calculated precision, always waiting for the exact moment when his enemies are at their absolute weakest to deliver a fatal strike. Observing Billy's current state of absolute despair over Sally's critical condition, Victor recognized the perfect opportunity to orchestrate a confrontation that would not merely wound Billy, but completely obliterate his sense of self. Victor's hatred for the Abbott family is a historic, enduring flame, and he has patiently held on to a secret so toxic that its detonation would ensure the permanent, irreversible destruction of the Abbott legacy. The tension reaches its boiling point when Billy, suffocating under the sterile, oppressive atmosphere of the hospital ward, seeks a momentary escape to clear his fractured mind. He arrives at society, his posture slumped, his eyes hollowed by severe exhaustion and overwhelming grief. The upscale restaurant, usually a place of joyous celebration and elite networking, transforms into an arena of impending doom as the imposing figure of Victor Newman approaches his table. The air grows instantly frigid, the ambient chatter of the restaurant seemingly fading into a deafening silence. Victor does not offer a single ounce of sympathy for Sally's plight. Instead, his demeanor is chillingly composed, his eyes gleaming with the predatory satisfaction of a man who is about to execute a flawless, long-awaited checkmate. This is not a chance encounter. It is a meticulously planned ambush, designed to corner a man who is already bleeding out emotionally. Victor's opening words are laced with a venomous, aristocratic elegance. He begins by mocking Billy's current pathetic state, subtly referencing the corporate failures, the reckless gambling, and the romantic disasters that have plagued Billy's life for years. The Newman patriarch systematically dismantles Billy's psychological defenses, poking at the open wounds of his deep-seated inadequacies and his desperate, lifelong need to live up to the legendary name of John Abbott. Billy, his patience already eroded to dust by the trauma of the day, demands that Victor leave him alone, warning the older man that he is in no mood for the usual exhausting Newman games. But Victor is not playing a game. He is delivering a calculated execution. The psychological warfare is masterful as Victor slowly tightens the noose, ensuring that every patron in the immediate vicinity can feel the sheer gravity of the confrontation that is unfolding in the shadows of the dining room. Then, with a voice as cold and unforgiving as ice, Victor drops the historical bombshell that will forever alter the fabric of Genoa City. He leans in, staring directly into Billy's bloodshot, exhausted eyes, and reveals that he has known the truth for a very long time. Victor explicitly and ruthlessly states that Billy is not the son of John Abbott. The words hang in the air, a terrifying prelude to the ultimate betrayal. Victor exposes the deeply buried scandalous conspiracy that Jill Abbott engineered decades ago in the shadows of the Abbott mansion. He reveals that Billy is the biological product of an illicit, passionate affair between Jill and Jack Abbott. The diaries Billy found were not just evidence of a fleeting romance. They were the prologue to his own existence. The trusted mother figure in Billy's life had been the mastermind of a monumental lie, deceiving John, Jack, and Billy himself for his entire life. Victor does not stop at the revelation. He twists the knife with a sadistic, measured pleasure. He openly mocks Billy, branding him a mere stand-in, a fraudulent heir who has spent his entire life masquerading under the noble shadow of a man who was never his father. Victor calls Billy's very existence a living disgrace to the Abbott legacy, a walking testament to Jill's deceit and Jack's moral bankruptcy. He sneers at the bitter irony that Billy has spent years competing with Jack, fighting for his approval, and looking up to John, while his true bloodline is rooted in a shameful betrayal that makes a mockery of everything the Abbott family claims to represent. Every syllable Victor utters is designed to strip Billy of his dignity, his history, and his fundamental right to the name he has carried since the day he was born. For Billy, the impact of these words is catastrophic and immediate. He is already standing on the precipice of a total mental breakdown. The agonizing fear of losing Sally and his unborn child has stripped away his emotional resilience, leaving his nerves raw and exposed. The shadow conspiracy that fractured his relationship had already left him feeling like an inadequate substitute for Adam Newman. Now, Victor's revelation strips away his very identity. The realization that he is Jack's son, that John Abbott, the man he idolized and desperately tried to make proud, was not his father, shatters Billy's reality into a million jagged pieces. The foundation of his life is entirely eradicated in a matter of seconds. The betrayal by his mother, the lie of his brotherhood with Jack, and the sheer humiliation of Victor Newman holding this truth over his head create a vortex of unbearable, suffocating agony. The psychological pressure cooker finally explodes in a spectacular display of violence. Billy Abbott completely loses control. The grief, the guilt, the betrayal, and the profound identity crisis coalesce into a volcanic, unadulterated rage that bypasses all logic and reason. With a primal roar of fury, Billy lunges across the pristine table, desperately attempting to physically attack Victor Newman. He knocks over expensive glasses and silverware, the sound of shattering crystal echoing through society as elite patrons gasp and scream in horror. Billy's hands reach for Victor, driven by a blind, destructive need to silence the man who just destroyed his universe. Victor's security detail, always lurking in the shadows, instantly swarms the area, restraining a thrashing, wild-eyed Billy. The physical altercation is a tragic manifestation of a man who has lost everything, reduced to a feral state of violence because his mind can no longer process the magnitude of the trauma inflicted upon him. The consequences of this explosive revelation extend far beyond Billy's immediate breakdown and the shattered glass at society. If this truth is publicly exposed, it will unleash an unprecedented tsunami of destruction upon Jack Abbott. Jack is currently embroiled in his own intense shadow war against Victor, completely oblivious to the paternity bombshell that has just detonated in public. Jack has always believed Billy was his younger brother, a sibling he has fought with, protected, and loved through decades of family turmoil. Learning that he is actually Billy's biological father, the result of a secret affair with his father's wife, will utterly destroy Jack's honor. It will tarnish his sacred memories of John Abbott and force him to confront a monumental sin from his past that he never knew resulted in a child. The public disgrace will be immeasurable, providing Victor with the ultimate devastating victory in their decades-long feud. Furthermore, the revelation exposes Jill Abbott as the ultimate architect of this tragic conspiracy of silence. The mother who fiercely guarded the Chancellor's secrets, who manipulated and lied to protect her own standing and wealth, will face the devastating wrath of the son she deceived. Jill's betrayal is absolute and unforgivable. She allowed John Abbott to raise a son that was not his, and she allowed Jack to live his life unaware of his own child, all to protect her own selfish interests. The trust between Billy and Jill is permanently, irreversibly eradicated. Her desperate attempts to hide the truth in the shadows have culminated in the most explosive, humiliating public confrontation imaginable, proving that secrets buried in the dark always claw their way to the surface, bringing absolute ruin to everyone involved. As Billy is forcefully dragged away from Victor by the security guards, his eyes reflect a man who is entirely broken. The identity crisis he is plunging into is the most severe and dangerous of his life. He is no longer Billy Abbott, the beloved son of John. He is a fraud, a mistake, a pawn in a decades-old lie orchestrated by the people he trusted most. Coupled with the agonizing uncertainty of Sally's survival at the hospital, Billy is left without a single anchor to hold onto. This catastrophic convergence of tragedies is guaranteed to push Billy down a dark, treacherous path of self-destruction. Stripped of his family legacy, his father's memory, and potentially his future with Sally, Billy has nothing left to lose. The reckless, destructive tendencies of his past are poised to return with a vengeance, threatening to consume whatever is left of his shattered life. The shadow conspiracies that have plagued Genoa City have reached their terrifying crescendo. The corporate manipulations, Jill's historical deceit, and Victor's ruthless, calculated cruelty have converged to create a perfect storm of devastation. The violent confrontation at society will be remembered as the exact moment the Abbott family was torn apart from the inside out. As the truth about Billy's paternity echoes through the city, The fallout will spare no one. Alliances will crumble into dust, reputations will be incinerated, and the lives of those involved will never be the same. The masterminds have played their final hands, and the resulting wreckage ensures that the battle for power, identity, and survival in Genoa City has entered its darkest, most destructive chapter yet.